We have in fact some news coming in. Jammu and Kashmir Lieutenant Governor has reacted to the murder of the Kashmiri Pandit. Lieutenant Governor Manoj Sinha has responded. Attackers deserve strongest condemnation is what he has said. Remember, there have been concerns among Pandits that they have approached the administration. In this case, the governor saying that at least for the time being, Pandits should be allowed to move to a safer place in Jammu and Kashmir. The governor has responded saying that the attackers deserve the strongest condemnation. Targeted killings in Jammu and Kashmir continues, and the governor has responded to all of this, and this comes at a time when many of these Pandits have been saying that we should be allowed to move to safer places until the situation improves in the valley. Abhishek Balla is with us. The opposition and many members who are in fact members of the opposition, Abhishek, have come out and said that all of this is all only because of the abrogation of Article 370 and the wrong policies of the BJP-led central government in Jammu and Kashmir, that the benefits of the long-term efforts that have been made in the past to bring back Pandits into the valley, there has been a reversal of that trend.
That's right. Every time an incident like this has taken place, there is politics played over it, and very often we see how politicians from the opposition parties target the central government, they target the policies of the Modi government, and this is not the first time. And it's always linked with the abrogation of Article 370, because when the special status of Jammu and Kashmir was done away with, the central government and the BJP were very vocal about the fact that, you know, in the long term, this will help in curbing down terror activities. But that's not really happened. Things on the ground have been completely opposite. So every time, you know, there is an incident like this, you will hear political voices targeting the central government, saying that Kashmir is a union territory now, and it's been governed by the central government under the Ministry of Home Affairs. So this keeps on happening every time we see an incident like this take place in Kashmir.
The governor has responded, talking about how the attackers deserve the strongest condemnation. But the fact of the matter, Abhishek, is that there is an accusation that is being leveled by Pandits themselves, that they have appealed to the governor and the administration that allow Pandits to move out at least for the time being. And that is something that is not being adhered to.
Well, first official
Abhishek,
reaction
I'm just going to be coming back to you on that question in a few moments from now. Some news coming in. The Falcon squad likely behind the targeted killings is what we are learning. Small firearms like pistols are being used, something that Abhishek was talking about. Big terror groups are sounding small modules. Essentially, small firearms are being used by small-time terrorists, younger people in the valley, and they essentially are being funded and sponsored by Pakistan. The Falcon squad is likely behind the targeted killings is what we are learning. Abhishek Balla has more details on that. Abhishek, talk to us a little about the Falcon squad.
Well, as has been the trend, you know, once again it's suspected that small firearms like possibly a pistol has been used in this instance as well. And, you know, really this is not taking responsibility by any big group. You know, you can have these names like Falcon Squad, etc. But it's still not clear which terror group, because this is part of strategy. It ensures that there is deniability by Pakistan, by these terror groups, and you know, these smaller groups which are essentially subsets of the larger terror groups that are active in the Kashmir Valley, backed by Pakistan, like Lashkar-e-Taiba, like Jaish-e-Mohammed. These are the ones that have cropped up, and members of these smaller groups have been carrying out these targeted killings. This has been the trend for over a year now, And this is part of what security agencies call hybrid terror. It's not a big terror group that will take responsibility. It's something which is handed over to these smaller groups, younger terror recruits, fresh terror recruits, and this trend has been worrying because while if you just look at numbers, the number of terror incidents might have come down, but it's this kind of recruitment which is disturbing and which is a bigger challenge for security forces, because earlier you would know if there was a recovery of a sophisticated weapon or an AK-47 rifle, that some big terror group was involved. But in these cases, these people function more like petty criminals who get their hands on a small firearm, and that's enough to do the job, to kill somebody, create panic, create fear, and make sure that the valley is always on the edge.
Abhishek, talk to us a little about the modus operandi of these offshoot groups that you mentioned, the manner in which they function. No major attacks, but small firearms are used essentially. Younger people have been recruited, and the way they go about doing what they're doing in the valley, essentially being sponsored and supported from terrorists in Pakistan.
So these people chosen to carry out these killings are not, the terrorists that are part of the lists of security forces. These guys are new recruits, fresh recruits, and really less suspected to be carrying out something like this. But this has been the trend for the last year or so, and a big challenge for security forces, for intelligence agencies, and intelligence agencies need to widen their list of suspects, because it's very difficult to pinpoint and to sort of zero down on these kind of recruits who've been carrying out these attacks. These targeted attacks have been part of a larger strategy that terror outfits have been carrying out, and every time a targeted killing like this takes place, it has the imprint of hybrid terror, the new ploy, the new strategy of park-based terrorists.
These offshoot groups are now believed to be working in the valley, functioning in the valley. Abhishek.
That's now go on.
I was asking you, how many such offshoot groups are believed to be now working in the valley? Is the Falcon squad one among many?
Well, there could be several, because this is a disorganized kind of a nexus. As I said, you will not hear the name of the big terror groups that you usually do: Hizbul Mujahideen, Lashkar-e-Taiba, Jaish-e-Mohammed. It could be any recruit from any locality. Just one single recruit is enough to go and do the job. You don't need a big group coming together. You don't need a lot of planning behind it. You just have a target in mind, any kind of a small arm in your hand, and you can go and kill the person. In this case, one person we have been told is dead. The other is injured. Sunil Kumar Bhatt's brother. They were residents of Shopian. They were probably working at their apple orchards there. Shopian, as we know, is in South Kashmir, a very vulnerable area, a hotbed of terror. These are the places, Shopian, Pulwama, Anantnag, from where a lot of fresh recruitment of these kind of terrorists is happening. In a while from now, we'll get clarity whether the security forces, whether police have more information, whether they've been able to zero down on any terror suspect. But largely this has been the trend, where one or two people get together, get a pistol in their hand, and go and carry out such targeted killings.